the time has come for me to pull out these old drawers. Obviously I've been putting it off a little bit because, you know, the old saying, if it's working, don't mess around with it. Look, I've put it off for too long, so we're going to pull it out and start designing what we're going to do in here and rebuild it. Hopefully you guys get something out of this. I've got a few little things I want to show you, little tricks and techniques and different things to do if you're doing something like this at home yourself. But stick around and I'll show you how we get it done. I do believe this is a two-piece lift. That's the easy bit done. Now we've got to start building something. So the plan is, obviously I talked about it in an earlier video, we want to put the fridge on this side but down on the floor level. So we're going to have the fridge on this side right there, and then on the other side I'll have a drawer, just a single drawer, pretty much the same sort of size as the Titan ones that I had in there. And then above that I'm going to have a little slot. I'm going to build a table that slides into the drawer system, so that'll be pretty interesting. I'll show you how we do that. And then just a bit of wing storage either side. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do up on this side here. Yeah, I've got a few ideas for, I'll probably put the battery and a bit of 12 volt on this side, so near the fridge. So I'm thinking about trying to build some pop-out windows for the side of this thing. So I know you can buy them, but I do like having a go and trying to make my own. So might end up doing that for easy access, but we'll see how we go. But that's the plan so far. So let's get some timber out and we'll start drawing it up and getting some measurements. Alright, got my sheet of timber out. I've got a sheet of lightweight ply, so trying to keep the weight down as best I can in the back of the cruiser. So I've gone and got a sheet of lightweight. It is still super strong, but it's that fraction, they use a slightly different timber, so it's slightly lighter than a standard sheet of ply. I can definitely pick this one up a lot easier than a normal sheet. So we're starting with that. That's going to make things a little bit lighter. So I'm probably not going to really stray too far away from the overall floor space dimensions of the Titan drawers, because they work, they fit. It gives me a basis to work from. That way I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel, obviously. Okay, so the other thing that I find in the industry that people don't tend to spend a lot of time thinking about is what carpet they're going to use once they're finished and they want to cover it. Because obviously there's different types of carpet that you can use that are suitable for different applications, and also different thicknesses. So you do have to be aware of how thick a carpet you're running for tolerances and gaps and things like that, and how it molds around corners and things. So there is a few things to think about. So I'll show you three. There's heaps of different carpets, but I'll show you three that are suitable for what we're doing for these drawer systems in the back of the car. Alright, so the first one we're going to talk about today is this unbacked stretchy carpet. So this stuff is good, like it's really easy to work with. It comes in 2 meters wide, there's heaps of different colors you can get. The beauty of it is super stretchy. You can stretch that in. This stuff is perfect for if you're carpeting like the back of your van. You can carpet the whole side of your van. It'll do wheel arches around all the ribs and onto your window spots and stuff, and really easy to work with. The only thing I find with this over time, it does get a bit fluffy and it sort of pills and it can look a bit old fairly quickly with, when you're dragging stuff in and out of it on the back of the deck, if you know what I mean, in the back of the car. So there's that one there. You can actually get this same product with a backing on it, so it's stiff like a marine carpet, but still same thing. I do find it does get a bit sort of fluffy. And the next one we'll talk about is marine carpet itself. So obviously we're all aware of what marine carpet sort of feels and looks like. It's quite thick. It's got a nice solid back on it. Your marine carpet does have mold and mildew properties and stuff made into it, so it will last a lot longer if you're going to get it wet and stuff. But as I said, like all these three, they're not going to get ruined by getting wet. The only thing I do find is it is super thick and it's really hard to mold around the corners and over edges and stuff and make it look nice. And then the other one that I tend to use and I really like is this. It's super thin and it's actually like a boot liner. So it's a really low pile, thin carpet. All of these are about 2 meters wide from memory. So this one here is, it's not as stretchy. It is flexible, but it's not stretchy like the first one. However, it folds around corners really nicely. It's super thin, so you don't need to allow a lot for gaps and things like that when you're trying to cover around stuff and allow for openings and stuff. Done a few different projects out of this, and it does wear very well because it's got that really fine pressed fibers. It doesn't sort of pill up and look old and nasty. It's not as good as the marine carpet, but it from what I've found and what I've been using, I do really like this. I find it gives a nice finish. If you go to your local motor trimmer or upholsterer, they'll have samples for all these and they'll be able to talk to you in more detail about pricing and availability and different products and stuff. But look, yeah, that's probably the best way. You can get a few of these at Bunnings and like your Clark rubbers and things like that, but probably your upholsterer or motor trimmer would be the best place to go for them. What I lack in timberwork skills, I make up for in my ability to carpet and hide it. Carpet hides a million sins. Only on your woodwork though, not in your life. Alright, so I've got my main floor section there. I've got this old fridge slide that I've been hanging on to, just you never know, and I'm going to use it. It is a bit heavy, so we'll see how we go as to whether it stays in there. But I've set that up on the passenger side. Now I want to build a fridge cage over the top of it because I don't like stuff falling in. I like to be able to use the fridge freely. So we're going to have a panel running up there, and then a roof obviously over the top of that, and then another panel down the other side over here. So we'll sit the fridge on and work out how high that needs to be, and then we can start working out these sizes here. I've slid that in. Obviously at the back there, because of the angle of the cage, it's touching at the top, so we're going to have to cut the back, the top bit here down on an angle so that it can sit back into the cage, which will allow this to drop back in behind there to allow the door to shut. So there's obviously a lot of things you got to think of while you're making this stuff. So we'll pull that back out and we'll start trimming that up a little bit. Alright, so I've cut that back. Now you can see that sitting up against the cage there, and then if you look down the front here, it's cut along, it fits perfectly in there. So I'll get it back out again. Okay, so I've cut my top. I've cut a top for there, and now I'm going to screw them in. One thing I will say, obviously I'm cutting this with a jigsaw, and it's probably not the neatest way to cut it. Some of my cuts aren't perfect, but the carpet's going to hide all that, like I said, and you won't even know once we've given it a bit of sand and carpeted it. But what I do try and do is use the edge of my timber, the mill cut. So like if you buy a sheet of timber, the outside edge, I try and use those edges on the bits that you're going to see, like the face. So this is where the fridge will come in and out. So right there, so when I drop the target down, that's the nice straight edge that I see, and same with down that edge there. It'll be nice, you know, nice straight cut. And the same, I'll do the same along this edge here and down that edge there. I'll use the edge, the sheet edge of the ply, and that way you don't have to sand it as much as I do some of these other cuts. Obviously if you had a circular saw with a nice sharp blade, you could set that up and cut, or a table saw to be even better. But we're working with what we got. It works. It's always a good idea to pre-drill before you put a screw in, but it just stops this bit of timber here from splitting open, and it just makes the screw grab into that timber a lot better if it's not fighting the timber to get in there. So obviously get a drill bit that's the right size for the screws you're using, and it'll make your job a lot better. Alright, starting to get a bit dark, I might call it for tonight, but I've put that in there to check it. I've put the fridge slide I'm going to use in to check it. I've put the fridge in to check it. I have learnt over the years that it is good to check as you go, because it's easier to change things now than when you're finished and your fridge doesn't fit. So check it as you go, because you can easily fix it. So we've still got to do a little end panel there, and a wing panel, and there'll be a lift up cavity in there, and then this side as well. Probably going to put my battery down in here maybe. I'll have to see if it fits, otherwise we'll be looking for a new spot for the battery. That was the plan anyway, so we'll see how we go. But we've got a built-in floor in there as well, and an end panel, and put my 12 volt stuff in there. But that's the basic carcass is done. I've put my extra panel in the bottom there, front and back, where the bolts are going to go, so that's ready to bolt down into place. But no, it's pretty good. It's pretty snug in there now, so it should be good once it's bolted down. Anyway, that can be tomorrow's job. Okay, we're back into it. It's actually still night time, but it is a different day. So I've got, we're going to do these wings down here. So just the front panel here, and then the top panel to fill in that gap. Same on the other side. So I went ahead and measured that and got the sizing for this piece, and I've made up this little bit here which fits down in there, and then I've got a little return on the top here which I'm going to put a little clip in, but I won't show you that until part 2 when we're actually carpeting it, because we don't need it in yet. So I'm going to go ahead and attach that, and same on the other side. I've checked the other side off, it was the same shape, so I've made two. And I'm going to screw both of them in, and then we'll make the top platform. All done and dusted. We'll leave it there for part one. I've got all the main structure done, all the hard work's done. Part two will be coming out, keep your eye out for that. That's where we're going to carpet the whole thing. We're going to build the table, the slide-in table that goes in there, and we're also going to build the drawer. I'm pretty stoked. I was able to get my battery down in below there, so there's good storage in there for the battery, and I've got some good storage on the driver's side as per the same as the Titan drawers. But overall, pretty happy with how it's come out. There's a bit of sanding and tidying up to do, and a little bit of finessing on all the side wings and the little bits and pieces, but that's easy to do once it's out of the car. I know that it fits pretty much now as it is, so it's just a little bit of tidying up to do. So keep your eye out for part two, and you'll see all that coming very soon. Thanks for watching, guys. If it's your first time, please hit the subscribe button. It will notify you of any other videos coming out, and we'd really appreciate it if you give us a thumbs up if you like the video, because it helps spread to other people and they get to see it too. But remember that the weeks are really long and the weekends are short, so chase the weekend.